Hello, and welcome to another episode of the America Safe, America Strong webinar series hosted by The Blueprint. My name is Jessica Morante, and I'm the Marketing Director for The Blueprint Corporation. Today's 20-minute safety solution is presented by Bob Henderson, President of GfG Instrumentation, Inc., a world leader in gas detection and measurement technology. Today, Bob will be giving us a detailed look at GfG's G888 and G999 multi-gas detectors. Over the next approximate 20 minutes, Bob is going to go through some unique solutions that can help keep your workforce safe. Towards the end of our webinar, Bob and I will do a Q&A session with some of GfG's most frequently asked questions, so be sure to stick around until the end. We're excited to share this impactful safety solution with you today. So Bob, if you're ready, take it away.
Hi, everybody, and thanks, Jessica. It's great to be here again. I'm very excited about today's topic, which is an overview of our fantastic new G888 and G999 multi-sensor instruments. So here we go. The G888 and G999 are just almost miraculously fantastic gas detection designs. I've been in the gas detection design and marketing and sales business for coming on 40 years, and it's just mind-boggling what we're able to do nowadays. The smaller of the three items on the PowerPoint slide is the G888. This is so small, so compact. It's a personal portable instrument. It is for operation in diffusion mode only. It doesn't have a pump option. So typical applications would be any time that you need to measure any combination of toxic, combustible, oxygen deficiency, carbon dioxide, you name it, we can measure it. It is smaller than most 4-gas meters, but it is capable of measuring up to 7 hazards at the very same time. Its larger brother next to it is the G999. The G999 has twice the power, and it has an optional internal pump, which is operated by a shutter switch. So if you want the pump to be active, you slide the slide up, the pump turns on, and you're pulling a sample through a hose and probe assembly. If you don't need the pump, then don't waste power running the pump. Leave the slide in the off position, in which case you are operating in diffusion mode. It gives you a tremendous amount of flexibility, and it is absolutely ideal for confined space entry, where you need the pump to do the initial pre-entry sampling, or maybe you need the pump to operate continuously because you're the standby safety watch on the outside of the space. But if you're going into the space, turn the pump off, operate in diffusion mode, and it operates beautifully. In the background, we have a totally self-contained server, the TeamLink, that you can use to control up to 10 wirelessly enabled instruments. And that's one of the other really amazing options that we have available with the 888 and the 999. We have the option of wireless RF communication. And this ain't your mother's Bluetooth, which is limited to 10 yards. The RF option allows us to transmit dependably up to 1,000 feet away. And at the other end, you can have a base station that you create by plugging a dongle into an RF dongle into your computer, or you don't need a computer at all. You can stick with the TeamLink. Up to 1,000 feet away, you can see what's going on with a display on any instrument that you want to look at. If there are any alarms, you can see those in real time. You even have a status icon for each of the instruments in your ad hoc network that will let you know if you've dropped communication, if you have an alarm, if you have a lack of motion, if you have the man down alarm turned on. It is a completely self-contained server system, and you don't even need a computer to operate it. So it's just magnificent if what you're after is a deployable emergency or confined space system of up to 10 units. The compact size of the 888 is just amazing. It's hard for me to believe that we really can dependably measure up to 7 channels of hazard at the same time. CO2, IR, catalytic LEL, all sorts of different toxic sensors, including dual channel COSH, COSH sensors for CO and H2S measurement. We're not stuck, by the way, with using a COSH sensor. We can use individual single channel sensors for CO and H2S measurement, which has a lot of advantages, by the way. So really, really flexible. The rechargeable battery with a typical 4-gas configuration runs for 23 hours on a single charge, and it's a safe nickel metal hydride battery that is not capable of bursting into flame if it's damaged. It's not filled with a combustible electrolyte. It does not have the dangerous aspects associated with rechargeable lithium-ion batteries. We have a safer technology, the one that we use in our portable instruments. It was true of the G450 and G460 rechargeable battery packs. It is true for the 888 and the 999 battery packs. By the way, one of the things that we do to keep the size of the instrument as small as possible, the battery packs are not interchangeable. It's an internal battery pack. If you want the availability of the use of alkaline batteries, or if you want to stick with interchangeable rechargeable and alkaline batteries, the G450 and the G460 are our earlier products, hugely dependable workhorse products. They are still available. So we are not discontinuing any of the old products. We are just bringing in the new products and joining them to the family of our fantastic portable instrument products. The 888 is about 1/3 smaller than the 450 and the 460. It is really compact. It is smaller than many 4-gas instruments, although it's a 7-gas, up to 7-gas instrument. So here's a view of the sensors on the inside of the instrument. You can see the central sensor is the patented unique IR sensor, and we use that for IR-LEL as well as IR-CO2. If we use a standard catalytic sensor, then it fits into the normal sized sensor housing, the cylindrical sensor that you're used to. We have such a wide range of sensors. This is an amazingly flexible product. For the 999, for that slight increase in height of the instrument, so it's the same vertical looking straight down on top of the instrument, it's the same footprint, it's just a little bit longer, and it has twice the power. It has, once again, an internal rechargeable, safe nickel metal hydride battery and the optional pump. You don't have to have a pump. If what you want is an instrument that runs twice as long with the same set of sensors as the G888, well, leave the pump turned off, or you can leave the pump entirely out. You can sample with the pump up to 300 feet or 100 meters or more away from the instrument. the slide on-off switch really is convenient. The size of the 999 is actually small enough that you could use it as a personal instrument if you like. It's not limited to being a handheld instrument that you must leave outside the confined space, or it's just not convenient to have hanging from your belt or in your pocket. It's a very compact design. It's really an awesome design. And one of the things that you should think about, both with the 888 and the 999, you might be asking, well, why all these different channels? I'm used to using, and my customers mostly use 4-gas instruments. There's been a little bit of an evolution on that. There is increasing recognition that there are a number of other hazards that matter. And 4-gas sometimes does not cover everything that needs to be measured. In many cases, we are including an SO2 sensor as well as the other 4 gases, or maybe it's an NO2 sensor, or maybe it's a chlorine or an ozone or an ETO. There's just a whole lot of different gases that factor in at a chemical plant or a manufacturing facility or an industrial site or a power generating system. It's not purely and only a 4-gas world anymore. And the G999 gives us even more options because the PID is a sensor that takes more power than the other sensors. We only make it available for use in the 999. So if you have a PID application, even if it's 4-gas with PID, we're going to put it into the 999 PID so that we get a really long operating time per charge. For those of you who are familiar with and love the G450 4-gas or the G460 127 gas portable GfG instrument, the same operating procedures work for the 888 and the 999 as the 450 and the 460. You push the same buttons. The only difference is the buttons are on the front of the instrument instead of the top of the instrument. Frankly, I think that's a little bit more convenient. It's a nice new advantage. The color scheme that we use to let you know if you have a problem is the same as it ever was. Green is good. The first level of alarm is amber. The second level of alarm is red. It is rugged, it is durable, it has a built-in boot, and of course, if you're using it in really god-awful, filthy paint spray or oil spray environments, we have leather holsters, we have all of the accessories that you might want with the instrument. Has a built-in high tension alligator clip. It has a solid D-ring if you want to hook it to a lanyard or hook it to your pocket. It has all of the other features that you're used to, like you can flip the orientation of the display, you can zoom the numbers to make them bigger, and you can watch all of the peak screens as well. So if you're interested in how high the number went, you can see. If you want to put it into peak hold mode, if you've used that in the past with our previous instruments or our older instruments, you have that as an available option. You can flip the orientation of the display. A few things are now different with the new product. Standard features now include, you don't have to ask for it or add it as an option. All 888s and all 999s have a built-in flashlight LED. Now, how you use the flashlight LED is up to you. You can set the instrument up, or we can set it up for you, so that you just have the availability of the flashlight for light. So you push the button and the light comes on, and it stays on until you push the button and turn it back off, or until it times out. and you go back to normal operation. But you can also set the instrument up with a panic button feature. So if you want to manually sound the alarm for some reason, you want to get everybody's attention, instead of using the flashlight as a flashlight, we set it up to be used as a panic button. You push the button and the painfully bright flashlight LED starts flashing. The painfully loud audible alarm starts howling. The LEDs flash. It's going to do everything it possibly can do to get everyone nearby's attention. And of course, if you have a wirelessly enabled version of the instrument, that change in status and the panic alarm will be communicated to the remote TeamLink server or to a remote base station. We also include a little helpful hint as to whether the instrument is in calibration or in bump check. If you've specified you want a reminder for that. If it's time to do something, you'll get a red flash once a minute. If it's all good to go, you'll get a little green flash once per minute. So you have knowledge without even having to look at the display and check the most recent calibration or bump test dates. The G888, I can't stress the importance of our rechargeable battery technology. This year, for those of you who ship products, well, if you're shipping an instrument or anything that has a rechargeable lithium-ion battery in it, you've got some serious hazmat paperwork to do, and your people in the shipping department better have the right certifications to allow that to happen. If you're expecting someone to return the instrument from the field to your office, well, they better bring it in person or take it to a shipper that does have the hazmat certification, because the regulations are very, very strict on that nowadays. And of course, there are the regulations if you are taking it somewhere by air. You can't put your cell phone in your baggage and check the baggage. You have to keep it in the cabin with you. Well, the same goes for any instruments that are powered by means of a rechargeable lithium-ion battery. Well, that's not the case with the GfG instruments. You are absolutely free to check equipment that is powered by means of a nickel metal hydride battery. So it's safer, it's more convenient, it's dependable, it does really, really well in really, really cold weather, and we get really long operating times per charge with our batteries. Now, with the G888, how you charge the battery up is up to you. The calibration cap also functions as a smart charging cap. So what we have is a little adapter, just like the one that you're used to for charging your cell phone, that goes to a wall power supply, just like the one that you use to charge up your cell phone. Plug it in and you can charge directly by means of 110 240 VAC wall power. We have an optional 12 VDC jack if you want to plug the smart cap into a vehicle charger, or you can even plug it directly in to the USB port on your laptop or computer. It'll take a little bit longer to charge back up, but if you've got a little time to do it, how convenient is that? You can even charge it up by means of your computer USB port. It's very cool. And if you prefer, we have an optional charging cradle. We use the same charging cradle for both the 888 and the 999. So in the case of the 888, the cradle is optional. In the case of the 999, because we have twice as much power, we are always going to include the charging cradle with the 999. So with the 888, if you use the charging cradle, it will take you about 6 hours from a completely empty battery to bring it back up to the end of the fast charging cycle. If you only use it for 1 8-hour shift, it takes only 4 hours to bring it back up to the end of the fast charge cycle. Now, the fast charge cycle takes it to about 85% of the final full capacity. It takes about 90 to 120 minutes in trickle charge mode to bring it up to the absolute 100% full capacity, fully charged stage. The reason that we do that in trickle charge mode is so that the battery is not damaged. We don't want you to have to worry about this battery. It's a really good system. In the case of the 999, it only takes 6 hours, again, to bring it up from a completely empty condition to to the end of the fast charge cycle. If you only use the 999 for 1 8-hour shift, it only takes 3 hours to bring it back up. So you've got more capacity to begin with, more operating time to begin with. You're not using as high a percentage of the total time that's available for use, so it takes quite a bit less to charge the 999 battery pack back up. The docking station, no difference. It's the same DS400 and DS404 docking stations that you're used to. In order to use an existing docking station with the new products, if it's an older docking station, you may need to send it back to the factory for a hardware update. If it's a more recently purchased docking station, the only thing that you have to do is change the cradle, which is held in place by a single screw and which is really, really easy to do. We have a lot of proprietary technology in our products, including our patented unique infrared LEL, infrared CO2, and infrared combination IR LEL, IR CO2 sensors. Now, one of the things you'll notice right away is it is bigger than the other sensors. And this is a case where size matters. On the inside of the sensor, we shine a beam of infrared light across a sensing chamber. And molecules that you're trying to measure absorb a little bit of that light. So you start out with more light than you wind up with because some of it has been absorbed. Now, there are internal mirrors on the inside of this sensor, so it's not just the length that you see on the outside of the sensor. You bounce it back and forth on the inside, and we wind up with an optical light path of over 7.5 centimeters in length. Why, oh why, am I droning on about optical path length? Because our competitors don't have that advantage. There are a number of products that use a micro-miniaturized chip-based IR sensor with an optical path length of a fraction of a millimeter in length. That doesn't give the molecules you're trying to measure much chance to absorb, and that means that it has almost no ability to detect gases that don't absorb really strongly. Those tiny little chip-based sensors are designed for the measurement of one thing, and that one gas is methane. If it is any other kind of gas, the readings are either much, much, much lower than actual if they respond at all, or the response is wildly variable and higher than actual. So where do you run into pure methane? Nowhere, not very often. If you have even something like natural gas, you've got 10% of the natural gas comes from other stuff. like propane and ethane and other unsaturated hydrocarbons, especially if it's raw natural gas. So some of these other materials have almost no response. Some of them have a response that is wildly greater than the response to methane. If you're trying to come up with a quantified number, good luck. What you have with those micro miniaturized sensors is a yes-no indicator of a few gases. What you have with the patented IR LEL sensor in the G888 and the G999 is an excellent quantified reading, and in the 888 and the 999, we can add additional sensors if we happen to be trying to measure something that is not detectable by an IR sensor, for instance, hydrogen. You can't detect hydrogen with one of those micro miniaturized sensors. You can't detect it with the GfG IR sensor either, but you can detect it when we plug an electrochemical hydrogen sensor into the sensor as well. So we have a solution, we are safer, we are better, we are capable of giving you a quantified reading, and holy smoke, look at the size. One of my favorite and most highly respected competitor products out there would be the MSA 5X. This is the actual difference in size between the 999 and the 5X. And the Multi-Ray Pro, the ISC MX6 hybrid, these are all about the same size as well. So you'll notice that the MSA 5X does not have a slide for the pump. The pump operates all the time. 100% of the time you're pulling power out of that 5X internal battery pack. You can't conserve power by turning off the pump, and you can't leave the pump out if you don't really want to have a pump. You have the advantage of all of the additional flexibility with the 999. You have the slide switch for the pump. You can leave the pump out if all you want is diffusion. And that is true for the PID version of the 999 also. If you don't really intend to use the PID for remote sampling, then you can leave the pump out altogether if you want. Not generally what we recommend. Most of the time you want to have a pump, but you don't have to absolutely make that decision. So 888 and the 999, compared to the G450 and the G460. Here you can see what the relative sizes of the new products look like compared to the old products. So the 888 is quite a bit smaller than the 450 and the 460. The 999 is just a little bit taller and has the advantage of the built-in pump. It really is awesome. Other advantages of the new products, we have always included data logging, but we are able to hang on to a lot more data with the 888 and the 999. In internal memory now, our data log is up to 30,000 logged intervals of data from up to 7 measurement channels. Holy smoke, that is a bunch of information. And of course, we have the wireless options. I'll talk more about that in just a minute. How long do we operate on a charge? It's pretty impressive. If you have the most typical 4-gas configuration with a catalytic standard LEL sensor, 5-year lead-free oxygen sensor, individual CO and H2S sensors, it'll run about 23 hours. If you replace the catalytic LEL sensor with an IR LEL sensor, or if you have a combination IR LEL/IRCO2 sensor, it runs about 24 hours on a single charge. If you add the wireless option, it's going to still, with the wireless communication turned on, and over a transmission distance of fully 1,000 feet to the base station or the server, it still lasts over 14 hours. And that's important because an awful lot of folks out there are on a 12-hour shift. It doesn't do you all that much good to have an instrument that only works for 8.5 hours. So the amount of operation time that we provide is really important. In the 999, we have twice as much power, so it makes sense that with a catalytic LEL sensor, with your standard electrochemical, oxygen, and toxic sensors, with the pump turned off, it lasts for 46 hours per charge. If you turn the pump on, it still lasts at least 15 hours. And you know what? I need to modify that that slide, because that includes the RF communication turned on as well. If you have PID, it's just amazing. If you have the as many electrochemical sensors as you like, the PID, IR LEL or IR CO2 or combination IR LEL CO2 plus the radio, you run for 22 hours. If you turn the pump on, you're still operating for 15 hours. You just can't beat that operating time per charge. There's no other product out there on the market right now that can duplicate that. Just finishing up with the radio, I think I mentioned you can turn a laptop or a computer into a base station. You can have the base station up to 1,000 feet away from the instruments, and you do that by means of what is called a plug-in RF dongle. So it just goes into one of the USB ports on your computer, and you're golden. And you're seeing all of your readings and alarms and status of the instruments in real time. And as I mentioned, you can also have a completely self-contained server, which we call the TeamLink. So you don't even need a computer. We have two versions. We have one version that is designed for 1 to 4 instruments, and the other version that is designed for 1 to 10 instruments. You can see the readings for any instrument that you want to look at. You can see the readings of any instrument or instruments that go into alarm. You can see motion detection. You can see status of communication. You have an indicator for each of the instruments in the network, so you can see the status at all times very easily. We have external antenna that we can add to, we can position the intrinsically safe antenna within the confined space so that you have very good communication with the other instruments inside the confined space versus the TeamLink server, which can be outside the confined space. It's just really simple and really slick and really compact, and it really adds a layer of safety in hazmat response and confined space response that you don't easily have with many of the other instrument designs that are out there. The information where you need, when you need it in real time. In terms of pricing, it's pretty darn good. Now, these are MSRP list prices. So for those of you who deal with discounts and contracts and so forth, you're working backwards and downwards from the MSRP. But comparing and contrasting, we give you a range of pricing options with the old products versus the new products. The G450 is not going anywhere. It is an awesome product, and it will continue to be available for a long time to come. The MSRP with an alkaline battery pack is only $755. Rechargeable version, including the charging cradle, is only $825 list. With the flexibility of the G460 as well as the 888 and the 999, you can have so many different configurations. I'm only giving you a couple. So if you have a G460 5-gas with one of the typical fifth electrochemical sensor choices like SO2 or NO2, alkaline version is about $1220. In the case of the G888, your standard 4-gas with the smart cap has a list price, an MSRP, of $1125, and that compares pretty nicely with the list price of many of our most important competitors. But we have advantages that blow the design deficiencies out of the water with some of the low-priced instruments that, if you just want to set an instrument on your windowsill, if you don't care whether it works, you can find something out there that's really cheap. But if you actually care about the numbers and the readings and all of the advantages that a better product brings, the 888 is really awesome. If you want to include the charging cradle, optional, but it's your choice, it's $1270 list. With the fully decked 4-gas 999, 4-gas with the pump, with the charging cradle complete, is $1725 list. So we give you a complete range of pricing options. So Jessica, thank you very much, and I will hand it back over to you for some question and answers.
So much. That was a great presentation. Really appreciate you being here and taking the time to go through the G888 and G999. So we've got a few minutes left in our webinar to get to some of those most frequently asked questions. So Bob, if you're ready, we're going to get right into those.
Awesome. Assuming that I successfully busted free of the sharing mode and you can see me again, let her rip with the questions.
Perfect. So the first question we have is, I have a docking station for a G450/G460 instruments. Can I use the same one for the G888 and G999?
You betcha. We have two versions of the docking stations. We have the DS400, which you hook up to one cylinder of test gas or calibration gas. So typically that would be quad gas. And the other version is the DS404, where we have 4 individual inlets, each of which can go to a different multi or single component cylinder of gas. So if you're going from a docking station that you were using only for a 4-gas instrument with quad mix, and you're moving to a 888 or a 999 with 5 or 6 channels of detection, you may need to invest in the DS404. But if it's going from 4-gas to 4-gas with a 888 or 999, sure, use exactly the same docking station. If you've bought that docking station within the last year, then you don't have to make any hardware updates. All you need to do is to change the cradle, which is held in place by a single screw. If it's an older dock, all the way to the beginning of when we started offering the docks, and that would take us back over 12 years now, we'll need to make a hardware modification on the inside of the dock, which means you'll need to send it back to the factory. And if you do that, we'll make sure that you have the most recent version of software We'll give it a physical, make it perfect and ready for life again. And then you can just switch back and forth between the charging cradles. Really easy to do.
Awesome, great to know. So the next question we have is, what is the best sensor configuration? Would I include a PID in the G888?
Well, for PIDs take a bunch of power. So we don't make the PID available in the 888. In fact, you can tell if the 999 is one that has been set up on the board for use with a PID sensor. It will say on the front of the instrument G999P, just like this instrument. Actually, you can see says G999C. If this was a PID option instrument, it would have a P at the end of the product part number. So we actually, number one, build the board for PID equipped instruments a little bit differently. So one of the positions is permanently dedicated to having a PID sensor. When we equip the instrument with a PID, for a variety of technical reasons, it really works out the absolute best if we equip the instrument with an IR LEL sensor instead of a catalytic LEL sensor. And that is because typically the VOCs and the fuel vapors and things that you are measuring with the PID, you also have a lot of really large molecules that the classic catalytic LEL sensor can't even detect. If you're trying to measure jet fuel or diesel vapor with a standard LEL sensor, good luck. It's just going to sit there like a lump. It's not going to respond. And that's true of our percent LEL catalytic sensor. It's true of everybody's catalytic percent LEL sensor. With the IR LEL sensor, the bigger the molecule, the easier it is for the IR sensor to detect it. And also, with the IR LEL sensor, we can add CO2 measurement to the instrument without it taking any additional power. And with the 999, always ask whether or not you might have the presence of hydrogen on site. For hydrogen, you can detect it with a old style catalytic sensor, but you can never detect hydrogen with an infrared sensor. So if we have hydrogen, we either stick with the old fashioned catalytic type LEL sensor, or we simply plug in an electrochemical direct reading hydrogen sensor. So if that sounds a little bit complicated, it's not. Your basic 4-gas instrument is a 4-gas instrument. Your basic 5-gas with PID is a standard 5-gas with PID. We just use IR LEL for the LEL measurement. So it's really pretty easy to figure out. But we're here to answer those questions. Give us a call and we will take you through the logic. And our salesmen are really happy to work with you in the field and consult and help you figure out what is the best, most economic, and safest approach.
Awesome. Thanks, Bob. We've got time for just one more question. So our last question for today is going to be, should I stick with charging my G888 using the smart cap, or should I invest in the optional charging cradle?
Well, if you want to download data, we do that through the charging cradle. So if you want to download data, you should have, you might have 5 or 10 or 20 instruments. You only need one cradle to download the data. But I do like the advantage of the charging cradle. I think it's a great option. It's worth the price. But it's entirely up to you. If you want to save a little money, then you can easily save a little money. And we're very happy to work with you on saving as much money as you possibly can. By the way, the other ways that you save money is with the cost of ownership. There's a reason and a super advantage with having a 5-year warranted lead-free oxygen sensor. And by the way, it doesn't wear out in 5 years. We are hopeful that it will last a lot longer than that. Similarly, if you have either a catalytic LEL or an IR LEL, we have a 3-year warranty. We have a 3-year warranty on the common sensors like CO, H2S, and COSH sensors. So we cost a lot less over a 2 or 3 year period, and we are not in business to encourage our customers to chuck the instrument and lose the investment entirely after 2 years or after 3 years even. Our instruments, we've got G450s that we sold back in 2007 that are being used in underground mines and at refineries and in oil field applications. Just brutal places to make your living as an instrument, and they're still alive and doing very well. We just refurbish them every few years. Eventually, when it's time to replace the sensors, we replace the sensors. Eventually, when it's time to replace the battery pack or the housing, we replace that. We really want to save you money over a long period of happy use with our instruments. That's really the goal that we live by. Anyway, Jessica, thank you again. I hope I didn't go too much over the time limit.
No, thank you so much, Bob. We really appreciate you being with us today. This was a very informative webinar, and we're really excited to share this with our audience. So thank you so much, Bob.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. As you can see, GfG Instrumentation Inc. strives to provide a safe working environment. If you have any questions on the products discussed today or would like to learn more, please contact your local Blueprint representative to schedule your virtual or in-person discussion today. Also, if you have not done so, head on over to teamblueprint.com to check out these complimentary webinars, allowing you access to our growing vault of safety solutions. Stay tuned for the next episode of the America Safe, America Strong webinar series. I'd like to thank you all for your time and attention today. Stay safe, stay strong, and go America.